Subscribe to James the Sheriff Dixon, you motherfuckers.
Okay, so this is the season finale of Fun Times with the Sheriff, and I've got my first guest of the night, Jay Reed. Do you want to say hi, Jay?
Well, hello, Fun Times with the Sheriff. It is good to be back on the season finale. Thank you for having me once again. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate the invite.
Mm-hmm. So tonight we're going to be talking about anime and film and television.
Yes, indeed. Tonight on Fun Times with the Sheriff, with your host. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, so we're talking anime, guys. We are talking anime and how it's kind of evolved. And it's always been something that really didn't find, I guess, a home or a certain space where it could kind of thrive. And I just mean that in sense when I say thrive in terms of how you can see it. And a lot of things, just like anything else, a lot of subjects, you can watch stuff on YouTube about it, but
Yep.
YouTube is really kind of taking hold to the anime and different kind of ways of entertainment that you can kind of check out for free.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
like the abridged stuff that we were talking about the other.
Yeah, yeah. So you even have cool like abridged versions where they're now correct me, James, if I'm wrong, or Sheriff, excuse me. Um, are those fan created or are those created by the actual animators of the programs themselves?
The abridged ones that I pointed you towards were the abridged one, the Dragon Ball one, and the Helsing one. Those are made entirely by the fans.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured. That's what I kind of figured. But nonetheless, they are hilarious. I love them. I think they're pretty funny. It's good entertainment, that to kind of take those shots and those storylines and kind of make them your own. It's also a good testament to those that do it, the fans, in terms of filmmaking, because one of the things that I was taught, and actually one thing I did, is as a filmmaker, it's helpful to watch a movie without the sound and then kind of draw your own conclusions in terms of the dialogue or the camera
Like
angles and
like a
stuff like
silent
that.
film type thing.
Exactly. Make it your own silent film, but take a film with sound and make it your own silent film to see how you can kind of come up with that. So for those who created that stuff, those fan fictions and stuff that are on YouTube, I mean, my hat's off to them for coming up with the dialogue and stuff like that, because obviously that's not the original
Yeah, they got
program.
some original dialogue in there, but they like changed the story enough of it to like where it's like their own.
Exactly, and that's totally cool. Again, I have a lot of respect for them kind of doing that. That's a lot of creative energy to kind of make that happen and make it believable and funny. That's totally awesome.
And like I said before, I didn't really watch the original like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z until I watched those guys right after I got out of high school.
Okay.
The abridged people that got me into more of the anime that I'm into now.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it was kind of the opposite. I had a nephew growing up. He used to love Dragon Ball Z, so I used to watch. When I would spend time with him, that was his show. We would just sit up and watch it. Yeah, it's kind of cool how it's got its own little spin on it, but in a positive light.
Hmm. So
Definitely.
you want to talk about like the very first anime we watched, and what grew out from there to watching to like it being popularized and us watching it like more than just that one series.
Yeah, the Dragon Ball Z and also One Punch Man. Is that what you're speaking of? And
Yeah, like, yeah. The One Punch Man is the first one I ever watched way back when they first aired it. Like I was talking about, we were just talking about this. Adult Swim used to run like the Toonami stuff on
hmm
late at night, and that's where I saw One Punch Man. They kind of did what the Dragon Ball Z abridged people do. They made it like funny and
uh
make fun of other animes at the same time while they were an actual anime.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, to me, it's all entertainment. It's all pretty awesome to kind of do that type of thing. I mean, you get to mend those cultures together, and I mean, chances are, if you like one, you'll pretty much like the other one. I mean, it's all kind of good stuff. You can't kind of go wrong in terms of making that happen. Also, just crossing the worlds possibly of the characters. So, yeah, I mean, it's a win-win situation all the way around because from a marketing standpoint and even from a producing standpoint, if your audience is gonna watch Dragon Ball Z. They'll watch One Punch Man, or they'll watch, you know,
The
it's not anime,
yeah.
but they'll watch like Teen Titans,
Oh,
that type of thing.
Teen Titans was one of my other original ones that I watched too.
Right, right, right. So, but there's an audience for it, so they'll go ahead and do it, which is totally smart. Yeah, it's just got a built-in audience. That's the name of the game, is just getting those clicks and those likes and those views, or pre-COVID, putting the butts in the seats if you're watching, you got a movie on or something. So.
What was the one that you were saying that you got you into it? Like the
Yeah. So back in the day, there was a show called G-Force, and it was at that time we really didn't call it animation. We just knew it as a Japanese cartoon.
Yeah, cartoon. Yeah.
And it was the fact that it was, they were maybe 4 or 5 guys, and they fought crime, and all of them were different type of, I want to say birds, I can't remember exactly, but they were crime fighters nonetheless. And there were a team of about maybe 4 or 5 of them, and every week or every episode, they would fight, the forces of evil some way, somehow, and they had the cool music. But you knew obviously it wasn't made in America, but at the same time you didn't care because you were just sucked in by the characters.
Yeah.
So, story, and as a kid, you really kind of don't worry about storylines as much because you're just, hey, that's a cool blue coat he's got on, or whatever the case may be.
Or the hair that they do now with the hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So you're sucked in by those things. Story kind of comes second, but nonetheless, G-Force was one. There was another one. It was a live action. It wasn't anime, but it's called Ultraman. Ultraman was huge in my neighborhood and growing up and things like that. It was a live action where Ultraman came from the sun, and again, it was a Japanese animation, and the character Ultraman came from one of I think all the gentlemen that were on the show, they worked at the Japanese space station or something like that. It was like a Japanese NASA type of thing, and one of them had this power to turn into Ultraman, and Ultraman will fight crime, but at the same time, Ultraman's kind of kryptonite, if you will, was the sun, and he couldn't be in the sun for so long. If he did, he would die.
So he would kind of like the opposite of Superman, where he gets his powers from the sun.
Exactly, the total opposite. But it was cool because you got a chance to see again the character, just this sleek guy. He's fighting these robots and stuff, and he's built, and he flies. So as a kid, who didn't want to fly? So Ultraman was one, and there was another one called Johnny Robot, which again it was a Japanese live action show where this boy, who I think his father worked for the Japanese type of NASA setup or some kind of government agency, but nonetheless the boy had a connection with the robot, and he could control the robot to fight evil forces. And so it's all under the same umbrella of the whole Asian culture in America, how people have taken to it. And I mean, that's kind of it goes across the board, not only with animation, but even like technology and stuff. I mean, this has got nothing to do with animation, but like I remember when the Bluetooth things first came out and for cell phones, that was like something that materialized in Asian countries, in California here. And at the time I was living in Michigan, but I came out here to California, and I'm like, what is these blue things in people's ears? And they're like, oh, that's Bluetooth, that's the new thing, and straight from overseas. And so but nonetheless, the Asian culture has always been ahead of the curve, and the United States sometimes is a little slow to catch up.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like we were just talking about too, like it was like around like what 2013, 14, where it like actually started like taking off here in like America, like everybody accepting people that actually like anime.
But when it did catch on, it's caught on. I mean, to this day, I mean, people love that kind of stuff. They watch it. People. I mean, you wouldn't have the abridged versions if people didn't take to it and really enjoy that kind of programming. And again, I mean, hats off to those that could just kind of make their own abridged versions to stuff that's already out there. That's a skill within itself. That's totally awesome. But
and if you don't originally like the anime and then you watch those, that's kind of what kind of like me like got me into it.
Right. Totally. I mean, It's that allure of and a good entertainment. I mean, it's timeless. It'll suck you in some way somehow, and it stays around forever. That's the power of good entertainment. You know, you've done your job. Then if that's the result, what the results are.
Yeah. So, but more on the like the bridge side, like I was saying, the story is what really drew me in for the Dragon Ball one because I've heard a lot of stuff about how the American version, like the English stuff, like really is like not like on par with the like the subs versus dubs thing. You know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you have your there's certain things I won't want to say you get away with, but certain things that maybe are more believable or more what people have a taste for versus well, people's just different kind of taste in certain things. So that's why maybe in certain like Japanese versions you may see more gore. I'm just saying using gore as a reference, but you may see more gore in
Violence.
something in a Japanese version versus more skin in an American version, or vice versa. And I'm just using gore and skin as an example. But nonetheless, I mean, if you're a hardcore fan, a lot of people seek out the original content and kind of judge it from there.
Yeah, yeah. Like back to that. Yeah, they do change up. If we want to talk about that, they do change up like some of the like original showings like from Japan. Those like air originally, and like when America sees it, they're like, oh, we can't show everybody here that. They'll change it up here, and like it'll be different.
Right, right, exactly. They change it for the audience because they know it doesn't go over good. That's the power of just distribution and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you're a fan, regardless, and you've seen the American version of Dragon Ball Z, for example, and you know it's the American version, but you're Dragon Ball Z diehard, you eat, sleep, and breathe it, you want to go check out the original Dragon Ball Z.
The Japanese with the subtitles, yeah.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, if you could, and this branches out to Comic-Con and stuff like that. Those people that created, they show up there, and you go meet them. I mean, Sheriff, you know all about this. Meet some of your idols from Walking Dead and stuff. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all entertainment. It's all kind of a commerce thing, but it's a good way. It's a good thing if you do it right.
Speaking of doing it right, so some of the I know you don't know about this, like the live action movies they adapt from anime. Like some of them don't do well.
Right.
Like specifically the Dragon Ball movie that they made. I want to say like 2000. You've heard about that one, right?
Yeah. I did hear about it. So I think that was just Hollywood trying to get in on the action in regards to just monetizing what's already there, and they kind of struck out. Of course, people flocked to it. Some of fans flocked to it, but it didn't go over well. But I mean, you can't blame them from trying. I mean, that's what Hollywood's all about in terms of making content. Sometimes they put dollar amounts over quality of content, and that equation doesn't always work out. Versus, I think it should be quality of content get you the dollars, but at the end of the day, it's about making that money.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say but yeah, sometimes when you try and capitalize on something that has a smaller audience or a niche audience, I mean that's what this is. People try and take advantage of it, and I don't want to say exploit like a bad word, but exploit to bring it to the masses for those that didn't, go on YouTube or knew about Dragon Ball Abridged or whatever the case may be. This is their chance to bring it forward, and they kind of didn't do it. Well, they didn't do it successfully.
Yeah, like say they make a live action, and the kids' parents who will like watch that, the parents' kids who watch the anime, then they can go see that movie instead of having to sit down. Because some parents don't like that.
Right, exactly. So it's like parent approved versus kid approved. I mean, that's two different things. And then what I'm finding too sometimes with some parents and students in my current position, it's like some of the students don't want their parents to know what they're into. I mean, they'll tell me as an instructor, like, hey, I'm into, I'll use an example like Tokyo Godfathers. But they may not want their mom to know they're in the Tokyo Godfather. So
like
you know,
like like an like an age thing for the like story or whatever anime that is,
yeah.
right?
Right, but to me, if you're a parent, at least you, regardless what your child is into, you need to support it. I mean, as long as it's not having a negative effect on their behavior or attitude. You know, if they're into counting stamps and collecting rocks, then hey, you're out there counting stamps and collecting rocks with them. You know, whatever. So
Yeah,
that's just me, though.
yeah. I'm trying to think. Um,
Yeah.
I
So,
think
let me say, sorry to cut you off, but I do want to kind of draw, to me, in my opinion, a historical reference to One Punch Man. And the sheriff and I have jokingly spoken about this over the years about Chuck Norris versus Bruce Lee.
we're going there now, are we?
We are going there. So the One Punch, to me, in my opinion, Sheriff, the One Punch Man, and this is fact, but you know we always have fun with this. But One Punch Man, the whole One Punch thing, was an ode to Bruce Lee because Bruce Lee had this one punch that he can literally knock you off your feet and knock you back. So I'm pretty sure they're paying tribute to him in some form or fashion. But the sheriff thinks that, in our fun little debate over the years, that both Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee studied the martial arts, and sheriff is more of a Chuck Norris fan.
Yeah.
I have no idea why, but meanwhile, I am on the side of Bruce because of just he's Bruce Lee, and I think even Chuck Norris admitted that. He said, "Yeah, Bruce Lee was a better martial artist than I was." But nonetheless, some people like Coke, some people like Pepsi. It is what it is. It's all good.
Yeah. I think we went over everything. Unless you want to like bring other stuff up, we can talk about.
Oh man, I think that just in terms of how people watch content, I mean, you know, there's always going to be that something new or some kind of new venue in which content is going to be shared, especially in this age of COVID, because the movie theaters will never be the same. You know, in terms of just, well, let me see, the drive-in movies may spike. I mean, that I think that's pretty cool that how that's kind of come full circle. Because even as a kid, I used to enjoy going to the drive-in, and even as an adult, like the times I would go to the drive-in, it was always a good time. But like,
yeah, I went to the drive-in too when I was a kid, and it was always a fun time seeing a double feature like on a Saturday night.
right, and then you got enough space to sprawl out and stuff like that, and you know. But the theaters, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard for them to kind of recruit an audience to say, hey, come spend the next 2 hours with 30 people and you're sitting less than 6 feet away from each other. And yeah. But at the same time, you never know. I mean, it just depends on how creative things get. But nonetheless, this opens the door for content to be displayed in other formats.
Yeah,
the internet, obviously, is
like Disney Plus is releasing like their like Black Widow and like Mulan and all that like onto their streaming platform, but you have to pay like $20-$30, which is the price of an actual movie.
Right. Yeah. So all these pluses, the Disney pluses, the streaming sites. I think that also too works in a way for, I think, a lot of families because. Obviously, we can watch stuff on our phones and stuff like that, and the whole social outing thing really has lost its fuzz because you can't go out and eat and stuff like that. But it kind of takes it back to being at home with your family and your friends or having them over to watch certain things on TV and stuff and to hang out and talk to each other. Although you may be watching it unconventionally, like on your phone, and some parents say that, you know, their kids spend too much time on their phone, but it's also a double-edged sword because now they can watch stuff on their phone, and yet you can still have camaraderie and talk, and you know, this is parents and children hanging out with other kids and that type of thing versus going out and, you know, spending all this money and, like I said, the social distancing thing and all that kind of stuff, and as you mentioned, the whole package deal, like movie prices, with the plus.
And some movies like I want to say whatever the Fast and the Furious franchise, Universal, they've been releasing their movies on demand since this all started. So
right. So that's kind of awesome because I mean, you just because COVID happened, this pandemic happened, doesn't mean, you know, that doesn't stop, people's thirst for things they love, and they get it firsthand on demand. Vin Diesel, here we go, round 12 or whatever it is. I don't remember which one it is we're up to now, but nonetheless, I mean, Vin Diesel's a smart guy. He knows that that's his franchise, that's his kind of his watermark. But at the same time, people want that content. So it's good in a way because yes, people spend too much time on their phones, adults and children alike. But at the same time, you're bringing it back home, literally, where you can watch certain things of avenues of the streaming the content versus going to the movies and stuff like that. So it forces people to interact. That's always a good thing.
And sometimes some families can't go with like younger kids to like the movies, so that also helps it too with all the stuff.
Exactly. You got babies, and you can't take your baby. You could, and it's happened. Obviously, people take their little babies to the movies and they start crying and stuff. But you can have them stay at home and you can watch your kids. You can multitask, do more than one thing at once, which is totally good. So, but yeah, just that the platform in which we'll see information, I have a feeling it's going to be changed in ways we never thought of. Like I might have mentioned this to you before, Sheriff, but just the actual TV screen or the screen itself won't be like have a plastic housing around it. It'll be like a hologram.
Yeah, I think we went over that before. In,
yeah. I mean,
when you were in films, back in film. So yeah, we talked about like having a room like with just for TV wise.
Correct, exactly. And then now you can throw in the whole, speaking of having people over, the whole virtual reality thing. You have people come over, put the goggles on, and everybody watches the movie. You have a watch party in your house, and everyone's watching the movie from different angles. It's I guess maybe a blessing in disguise that this kind of COVID thing has happened in terms of home entertainment. So time will tell what'll happen.
Well, at the same time, it might have happened anyways with the way technology is.
Right. It just maybe happening sooner than usual due to what's going on. Well, So yeah. But I'm excited. I mean, at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and as I mentioned earlier, good entertainment. If you do it right, it's timeless. It'll last the test of time, and it'll be around long after you're gone. So unfortunately,
that's true.
But you gotta love it. Indeed.
But I think we went over everything.
Is that it? So,
do you want to say something before we end this recording session?
Oh no, man. I mean, that's thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. It's kind of shorter than sweet, but it's all good. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, so this has been Fun Times with the Sheriff, the first part of the season finale. This has been my guest, Jay Reed. Stick around, part 2 will be out shortly. All right, this is the second part of Fun Times with the Sheriff. I'm here with my cousin, Adam. You want to introduce yourself?
I'll ask the questions here. First question. Are you even sure this is your jurisdiction?
Well, this is my jurisdiction.
Are you sure this isn't your jurisdiction? Oh, there you go. Put that one on the t-shirt. Yeah, so you wanted to talk about apocalyptic movies, and I was like, I like post-apocalyptic. Now I'm just going to quiz you on things. So you mentioned Nicolas Cage and the Knowing. Who's the character actor who would most likely convince you that if you like saw someone on the street yelling that the end of the world was coming, what character actor would
I choose?
You be more likely to believe? If Nicolas Cage ran up to you on the street and said that the world was ending, would you believe him, or would you be more likely to believe Hank Azaria? Because I'd be more likely to believe Hank Azaria.
I feel like if I saw Morgan Freeman on the end of the street saying the end of the world is gonna happen,
yeah, if I saw Morgan Freeman in a panic, I would be very concerned. I've never seen Morgan Freeman look like he's in a rush. So yeah, I would be very good. Like, did you see Morgan Freeman just booking it? You're like, oh shit, I gotta go. You don't even ask. You just run the same direction as Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you go wherever Morgan Freeman goes. Yeah.
All right, so Morgan Freeman is your pick there. So you know, why the apocalypse? Why do people like that? Can you tell me that, Jimmy? Why do people like the
I
apocalypse?
can
What
tell
is the
that
fascination with it?
you,
Is
you,
this some kind of you know, like cis white male obsession with tearing the world apart because they don't want to share it?
no, I can compare
So,
this to the Walking Dead, which is this show you know I love, and
it is a show that you love. You do wear a fancy hat for it.
I got a new
Uh,
hat from Evan, by the way, from
Oh,
my
I'm glad
birthday.
you got. I'm excited to see your new hat. You needed to step up your hat game. You can get, just get some more hats, man. Just really like you can build hats into your brand if that's what you're trying to do. Hats in the apocalypse. You get hats with like the beer drinking hats, but instead it's just MREs. It's just like liquefied smoothie. That yeah. Uh,
Blackout juice, Jameson and Everclear, and the yeah.
oh God, yeah. Please, a helmet full of Everclear.
So
You're
you were
going.
asking like you were asking like what's the point of the genre, right?
What's your more compelling one? Obviously you like zombies, but yeah, what's the draw to besides Walking Dead? What's the draw to the apocalyptic genre for you?
Um, God, if I didn't see Battlestar Galactica and how good that was, I would say Robots. But then again, Edward James almost made the 2004 remake of Battlestar Galactica, and that's probably I like that more than Walking Dead. So Robots, I would honestly say Robots.
But why is the robot battles? Like Battlestar Galactica is not the apocalypse. They're in space. The
It's
world
like
is constantly changing. Any good existentialist should constantly be surviving an apocalypse of the now.
okay, then nuclear.
No, well, that's no fun. That's no good. Those were what a waste of technology. We could be circling around the moon,
Okay. Then
or
the.
are we already circling around the moon? Gravity. I don't understand how it works.
Yeah. Then like you say no to nuclear. And like the 28 days, the 28 weeks later franchise zombies, then I guess that would be it for me because they can run and I can't really run.
So,
Mm-hmm.
what's to stop me in a zombie apocalypse from attaching rollerblades to all of the zombies, besides the zombie bites?
Oh,
Like,
like in the Walking
why
Dead.
don't you see that anymore?
Oh.
You do like, let alone the debate between quads or inline skates. Like, do you want your zombie? That's your fast zombies versus slow zombies of the roller rink question right there. Like they got the maneuverability, but then you got the additional speed.
Like in the Walking Dead, you can cut off their arms, and you can cut.
Yeah,
off,
but at
cut
any
off-
point, I didn't watch any of the rest of The Walking Dead. At any point, do they put zombies on roller skates in that?
No.
That's a garbage show, and I don't want to watch it. No, I just don't. That's.
I'll be sure to when
I'm glad you watched it. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad you take a lot out of it. But if you're not pushing the zombie genre by attaching them to roller skates or Razor scooter, get those millennials nostalgia bucks in there. I would.
But
They sold that. Didn't they have like some kind of partnership deal with Negan and Rawling?
you're talking about Negan's actor.
No, I was making a joke about baseball bats. I think.
Uh,
I think Rawling is making baseball bats.
Use that the main villain does use a baseball bat as the weapon in The Walking Dead, and he's now like
Yeah,
anti. He's not like an anti-hero, so yeah. But next time, I was gonna say the next time I plan on writing my next zombie show, which is gonna be within the next like year or so. I will be sure to write in zombies on skates.
Yeah, so I mean, there's the apocalypse. So what's the fascination of the zombies for you, man? You know, what is it about that you're like, yeah.
I get this argument every time somebody questions The Walking.
I'm
It's
not questioning The Walking Dead. I don't question liking zombies. I'm just like, what are if you were gonna write in something outside of zombies, what would your other interest be? You know, what is it that zombies that set you apart from doing it?
it would be like
I'm guessing you would write tawdry romances and set in the 18th century.
No, it would be like an ultimate crossover between my favorite TV shows like Buffy, The Walking Dead, X-Files, Battlestar Galactica. It would be like something like that one guy presented in Parks and Recreation, that like one scene that he ranted on about. Yeah.
Parks and what?
Parks and Recreation. That show with
That's the one with
Leslie
the guy who runs really fast, right? And he like fights like Superman or something.
That's that you're thinking of. I think uh, the DC universe, but this is that one guy that was in that one episode that talked about how like Thanos would cross the worlds with all the other like Marvel realities.
Oh yes, that's actually no. Now I actually remember what it is you're talking about. That it's a Patton Oswalt.
Yes. I would do something like that. I would create a like show where Supernatural combines with the X-Files, and then like somehow they combine with Buffy, and then somehow that ties into Battlestar Galactica, which is in Battlestar Galactica they're tied into our past. So that's how it would tie it in.
I forgot. People I'm sure that you talk with people about your hat and zombies, but I don't think do people talk with you. Do you guys really touch much on your Buffy the Vampire Slayer? You had a real hard on for Spike, man.
Oh yeah, and I met James Marsters, who played Spike while wearing that. I know what you're talking about because I did wear a trench coat for an odd number.
Didn't he also play Piccolo? I think if that's a toss up for me.
But he was better in Buffy than he was as playing Piccolo. Come on.
I mean, but to work with Justin Chatwin.
That whole movie was an entire mess.
They all seem very nice. I just hope I'm remembering appropriate cast members there.
James Marshall, James Marshall did play Piccolo. I know that because I met him and I talked about it. So.
So in that so which of the supernatural characters is the Cylon?
Oh, or like from the TV show. Let's just say.
If you say you're doing a crossover, you got to be able to come up with this. Come on, man.
Okay, all right. Sam and Dean are Cylons. He's like keep dying. And
they're both Cylons, and they both. Yeah, that's funny.
He's like they keep dying and they keep coming back to life. Yeah, there we go. And who I would make the Admiral, I would probably make Spike the Admiral. Spike would be the Colonel because he would probably have the drinking problem, just like in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, I like recasting the roles is one thing. I want to see some new stuff here, man. Come on, if you're really push the boundaries here. Let's get some roller skates on some dudes. Let's get some roller skates on some hands.
Okay, so Spike would be there. He'd probably be a colonel. The old colonel from the original Galactica would still be there too, but he'd probably be an admiral. So
I don't know enough about military progression for that. I'm sorry, I can't contribite there.
Neither do.
I feel like we've lost the thread here.
By the way, my podcasts do sometimes spiral out.
I just want to know.
Mm-hmm. You just want to know what?
I just want to know.
We were talking about my next screenplay. That's what we were talking about.
Well, it's a solid one. You know, that's a good. It's a solid description of what it is that you're aiming for, and I'm intrigued to see where it is that you want to take it. But
Like I said, other than zombies, I was gonna make my Resurrection show that I know you followed along, like when I made it in high school. That zombie show that I made, I was gonna make a like 2.0 version of it, where like all the characters that are in that show like as adults and like go on from there. Like,
so that's still does like I still want to understand where you really where you wear a sheriff. You really like your zombies. What is it about them specifically? Is it the teeth?
no, it's that they're so slow, and
Is
yet
it
they're so slow, and yet they can like take over the world in like within a week. Which is most George Romero movies. They like the Night of the Living Dead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I sneezed. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was in the Night of the Living Dead. They're like pretty much ghouls, but like within a week they took over the world. So like again, George Romero. Bless you. But George Romero is like a huge like thing for me. Like I started watching zombie movies when I was 8. Mom, you know my mom.
Sorry.
Yeah, you know my mom. She saw me watching a zombie movie, and she was like, "Oh, you got to start from the beginning." And then we watched Shaun of the Dead, and then she was like, "Oh, you got to start from the very beginning." And then I watched Night of the Living Dead. So I started when I was 8 years old watching zombie movies.
Which is the best Romero zombie movie?
Oh, okay. Land of the Dead is great because that's when they start using weapons and start thinking. Then again, the original Night of the Living Dead, we would not have zombie movies without Night of the Living Dead. I'm gonna say Night of the Living Dead.
And how do you feel the extrajudicial killing of a black man at the end of Night of the Living Dead informs on our current socio-political climate?
Okay, that's a tough question.
Just don't even. You know what? I feel like if I gotta put you in a delicate position there, I think you might just want to back away.
I was gonna say they did not see his race when they shot him, so I was like, I don't know what to say about that. They just saw a body moving among the other zombies, and they just shot him. So
it's true. How do you? So, what's your best zombie practices to prevent that? You know, if we're looking at Night of the Living Dead as an instructional safety video, hopefully aimed at preventing you from accidentally shooting someone. You know,
like having a group of people go in and clear out zombies? What pretty much asking?
Oh, you know, like, do you have like a Turing test for a zombie to determine whether or not before you shoot? Do you go like, hey?
I've seen a bunch of movies about this. Like they have some movies they have.
What's the meaning of it all?
Some zombie movies they have the person take off all of their clothes. Like Train to Busan is a great movie. It's a Korean zombie movie, and like. They don't do that in that, but like I'm just
the bus or the train station one when they get off and they're coming down the escalators there, and then they've got the big glass walls. That was a cool scene. I liked that movie.
but yeah, what I would do during that, I would have a group of my 5 closest friends / like family. all gathered in a circle, and we would like again make the person strip.
We gotta play hacky sack. We're gonna gather. We're gonna gather in a circle. We're gonna toss the stacks, bro.
No, I was gonna say like you asked what I would do. I would like because I have our family's close, so like I would have some of our closest family members and some of my closest friends like if this was the scenario, and then have that person strip and show us if they were bitten or not. So
Yeah. How do you? And that's another one. Like, obviously, our pandemic has proven that people
American-
are shitty. People are shitty and absolutely would conceal their zombie bites.
Exactly, because the zombie apocalypse would happen. Yeah, there would definitely be like 50% of Americans that hid their bites and 50% that did not. Yes.
And that's the good thing is
you can talk about the
you
can talk about the pandemic. I had a person before you that like ranted about it, so you can talk about it.
oh, whatever. Like what there's not a lot to say. We have not handled it well, but people need to. I think everybody just needs to take a break here and just chill a little bit.
Well, I've been.
We're all a little worked up. I think we all need to take a second, and I think there's no harm in being extra cautious while people go and take a second and take a breather. So it's like, mask up. We should all be mask upping anyway.
Yeah,
I'm trying to sound reasonable here because there's everyone yelling at everyone. No one ever changes their mind from getting yelled at.
Yeah, that is true. And I started work 3 months ago, and I wear a mask every time at my job and whenever I go out. So.
All right, yeah, it's just respect. It's just common courtesy. But whatever. I don't want to talk about that just because it's just, man, fucking whatever. I like talking. I like talking about movies with my cousin and that.
Yeah, you didn't say that.
I like trapping you into conversations about Black lives and why they matter.
you never said if you're my older or younger cousin, by the way.
Black lives matter. Trans lives matter.
You never said if you were an older or younger cousin, by the way, which is what Brent did He was on my podcast a few weeks earlier.
Oh, I'm obviously your younger cousin. I'm 14.
You can't tell why I laughed. He's not.
Yep.
So come at me. Come at me with more questions. Come
on. So. Which is the superior?
Okay.
Theater scene.
What do you mean, like, for what?
The Blob, Gremlins, or the entirety of Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, so I've only seen
every iteration.
I've only seen Gremlins or the Phantom of the Opera, so I'm gonna go with Gremlins.
You've not seen the Blob?
No.
How so? As a man who says that he likes a slow-moving, can take over the world threat, and they think how have you not seen the Blob? What are your thoughts on The Thing?
The Thing?
The Thing, yeah.
I don't think I've seen the Scooby-Doo version of it, but I don't think I've seen the original version of that either.
Well, there's two versions of the Blob and two versions of The Thing.
Which one do you want me to watch?
They are all. Unfortunately, you should probably watch all four of them.
I have the time to. I can make the time to. You know that. When I make the time to, I can. That's something about me that nobody else does.
It's just that there's like they're both really good remakes. That like they're not. They are distinct to their individual era. So you get this nice little time capsule of film in that moment, and the stories are, you know.
I'm surprised my mom hasn't shown me either of those movies.
Blah has a great fucking theme song too. It's a banger.
Yeah, I'll make a note. I'll make a mental
Oh,
note.
it's
Yeah.
across the floor.
All right, keep coming.
So let's see. You really couldn't get an answer on that one. Let's see. I'm looking at other location-based judgments that we can go on.
You're like one of the better people that I've like interviewed, by the way, for my podcast.
I mean, you know, it's because I'm delightful. So I'm thinking on location-based things, but and football fields are coming to mind because I was thinking of the faculty. But what else is it? There was shoot, there was some other football bleachery thing I just saw the other day. It was going to be an excellent comparison, and I was going to say, pick between that and the faculty and all of Friday Night Lights. But it's gone.
Do you have it like written down somewhere?
Oh no, I don't know. I don't know how to write.
There's this cool feature in your phone called Notes.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, well, no, I don't know. Phones? No. Never heard of it. Never heard of them. I don't believe in them. You know what's the phone? What's the phone really doing there? Just hanging out in my pocket?
Yeah. Exactly.
Connecting me to the internet?
Yeah, exactly.
Storing all information? Psh. No, man. I write things down. I just didn't write anything down because I had no idea where we were going to be going with this conversation. I didn't sit down. I didn't sit down earlier and go, I better write down every movie I can think of that has a football field in it. Because if I did, I probably would have said the Breakfast Club sooner.
Oh, that's a great movie.
There's a football field there, you know.
Yeah. So
Charlie Brown would attempt to kick a football. I don't know.
Just ask your question.
Is a football field defined by the lines on it, or is it just defined by where you play football? Does the football field live in your heart?
Like I said, I was in marching band for the last 4 years of high school. What was the question again?
Would Orson Welles' War of the Worlds radio stunt work in this day and age?
Oh, okay. Yeah, like the government released that like UFOs are real, so yeah, I think it would.
You think people would go into a panic? You think you could sufficiently rile people? You think that people would really think that we were under? You could convince people that people were. I just think that people would be like, nah.
No, if there was a good enough actor that the government hired, and they put him on the radio, yes.
I'm confused.
What? You okay?
I'm fine. That's fair. But it just seems. How would you? Fact checking is hard. You go. Oh.
Just look at Joe Rogan. He got canceled because he's spewing out the truth too much.
He's spewing something.
Yeah, got more.
I talk a lot of shit, so.
So do I too.
I'm like, you can generally be right sometimes if you just never stop talking, but if you never stop talking, do you ever listen?
No, I agree with that. Like I spout a lot of shit too, and some of it sticks, some of it doesn't.
Yeah, the scientific method,
No,
inquiry,
I think now we're in the conspiracy part of the podcast.
conspiracy. There's no such thing.
Oh no,
I
no,
don't
no,
believe.
no,
I don't
no.
believe in them.
I,
No,
I do. I think the government.
no,
We landed on the moon.
no. It's all conspiracies are just big conspiracy. I
That's a
don't believe in it.
conspiracy within itself.
No, I don't believe in any conspiracies. It's all just no such thing.
We couldn't go. We
It's a
couldn't.
myth.
We couldn't go a podcast, a season finale without doing conspiracy. Okay, so fuck. The X Files perfectly explain the If you watch the X Files, that is, they perfectly explained how
Is that the one where they they bid on abandoned storage containers and then they like see what's inside it and then they like auction it off and they
No,
try
that's
to make
Indiana
money?
Jones. That's Indiana Jones.
Okay, cool.
But the X Files is with David Duchovny, who plays Mulder, and Gillian Anderson.
I am familiar with the X Files. Yes.
But I was gonna say they perfectly have a great episode about, like I was talking about you earlier, about the cigarette smoking man. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he has a great episode of how they faked everything throughout our history, and as a conspiracy theorist, I believe that shit.
That all of history has been faked.
Pretty much, yeah. What we're taught in schools is lies. What we're now 2020 is pretty much us learning the truth. Is what I pretty much think is what's happening right now.
Well, that's people say that very dismissively, and while I do think that there's always important to be critical of education systems. That's real dismissive of like.
Say the moon landing. Say the moon landing's a fake.
Yeah, but like, how much time? Like, if you spent a significant amount of your time in school on the moon landing, and like whether or not the moon landing was real, that's just a bad class, like that should not be a thing. You should be learning math, or you should be learning some other skill. You could be working in shop class. You could be working in language arts.
But there are teachers. There are teachers like that, though. Sadly to say.
I don't think there are any teachers who spend any math teachers who don't teach math and instead talk about the moon landing. Oh, I know what? No, that's either I take that back.
I told you. So yeah, you started.
There are teachers who talk about the moon landing, but that you can't go. Well, everything you taught is a lie. So it's not like learning how to conjugate words in German and in Spanish is not a lie.
I didn't say everything. I didn't say everything was a lie. I didn't say everything was a lie.
You just can't. You just it's important to be skeptical, and you always need to be on your toes and be thinking for yourself critically. But ultimately,
which is what I am pretty much.
I mean,
Remember that you are dressed up as an FBI agent?
Dressing up as an FBI agent is an important. You want to look the part, So if you dress up like an FBI agent, and it instills in you a desire to pursue more critical thinking.
I was just saying. Just remember that year. Remember, like after I watched the X Files, I dressed up like an FBI agent for a year.
I mean that that's. You've really been sticking with your sheriff's hat for a while now, though. What's your
10 years this October when The Walking Dead comes out for the season finale.
Are you gonna burn it at the end?
Oh no, fuck no! I'm gonna keep it for whenever I die, somebody can I'd be like, yo, fight to the death for this.
Someone's gonna fight. We're gonna fight you. That's in your will. We have to fight to the death over your hat.
or you can just have a great argument over it. But yeah. My best is also in the same category. You forget about I wear the Daryl vest.
Oh yeah, man. How did Game of Thrones taking a shit affect you personally?
I was gonna say you didn't get me the chance to when we were at Camp Gek. Me and my mom actually liked the final because me and my mom watched the shows together. We actually liked the final season of Game of Thrones because we did not read the book.
You know, is that because you didn't read the books, or because you don't have any taste?
No, let me explain that. I know it was rushed. I know the story was rushed because they wanted to do Star Wars, and then at the end they did not get fucking Kathleen Kennedy. She's like, oh no, you guys aren't doing Star Wars after the last season of Game of Thrones. She did not let them do Star Wars anymore. It was Ryan Johnson who's going to do Star Wars now. But I like the last season. I'll fight that. I'll fight that. I like the last season.
Interesting.
That's why I still wear the Hand of the King on my vest. No, bless you. Just to keep on time, we're about a half hour in. Still got another half hour in you.
Oh no, I got. Like I said, I gotta be up at 4 for work tomorrow.
Okay, so probably another 10 minutes.
Yep. So you're 2 minutes. Sorry, I'm still just sneezing up a storm over here.
Just tucking in. All right, so another 10 minutes. All right, that'll bring us to about 45 minutes by the time we're done. All right. Any more questions?
How does the death of the American Mall, as we know it, reflect or impact the future iterations of Dawn of the Dead?
I don't think it'll affect us at all because of online shopping.
That's what I'm saying. Malls are dead. So, like, how would you have Dawn of the Dead now that malls aren't really going to be a thing anymore? Where would you put that instead? Would it be in an Amazon shipping warehouse?
I was gonna say police station, but Amazon shipping warehouse. Yeah, I did not think about that. No, yeah, police station. I would have said police station.
I mean, I can't shit. So many police station scenes popping up in my brain that I can't keep them straight. Best police station scene. What's that Josh Hartnett one with Alaska? 30 Days of Night.
Oh, I've heard of that movie.
Oh, dude, you gotta see that movie. That's a good movie.
30 Days of Night, that's the one where they're all vampires in that one town, right?
Correctamundo.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Netflix one night. Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
It's got a good jailhouse scene.
Okay, yeah.
Blazing Saddles, also solid.
All right, well, if you want to end it around here, I can stop the recording and.
Oh yeah, I mean, unless you have any additional questions.
Oh, so you have your own podcast. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh no, I mean, you know, I did some stuff for work for a while, but I really don't have my own podcast anymore. Let's just say I did a short run of series talking to Michigan authors. Because there's lots of great Michigan authors out there. I can always encourage people to go out and read stuff. So, yeah, check out your Society of Children Book Writer and Illustrators (SCBWI), and see what their members are writing in your area.
And your
Go out and read some
podcast.
book.
Your
Huh?
podcast is called.
Oh, well, my podcast doesn't exist anymore. My podcast was called Lit in the Mitten.
So we are lit in the mid.
Well, yeah, because it's literature in the miniature. It's a miniature, a miniature mitten.
All right. I'm gonna end the podcast here. So this was the season finale of Fun Times with the Sheriff. Thanks again for being on here, Adam.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna definitely have to come on again.
Oh, I mean,
For season two. Season 2.
you won't be able to keep me away with a stick.
All right. So yeah. Peace, everybody.
Right. I just want to shout out an amazing channel, James the Sheriff Dixon. Oh, he's such a great guy, and he is super cool for coming to the show. I'm glad I got to meet him in person, and you should subscribe.